So the Hebes are planning material goods and messages and pretty much everything. As you can see, I've got this great shirt that says "We are disturbed." What do you think the message is when you see that? What it is they bring this shirt into the store and populate the store across the street with whatever they want to sell me next. And then I buy that because they know they've moved me out here where I'm not around anything else and shit. And it's God doing it, not visible people. It's invisible. It's the invisible people controlling the robots to do it. So apparently God is he he does things like you might have seen this. There's Jeffrey Epstein has this label called Pink. You might have, before you heard of Jeffrey Epstein, you might have like thought that that was pretty trashy for females to go around with the word pink written on their vagina. I was like, wow, you're a real cheap slut, huh? So is that the message we're supposed to get when we see Jeffrey Epstein's children wearing pink on their tits and on their vagina? That's the message I get is, hey, that bitch might have AIDS. Don't touch her. She's probably fucking everything that moves. And I think what they're doing is like for people who don't really care about thinking, don't put much effort into it, or want to prey upon that, like Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein's themselves like that because then it identifies as a person too stupid to fucking think for themselves or a person who's smart enough to know that's what they have to offer. And, it's a way animals do this when they're in heat, right? Like cats can get real annoying when they're in heat. They like, meow. It's like way worse than writing pink on your vagina or your butt or your tits. But like, so some people like that, right? There's all this music out there about hoes and bitches and shit. And I know people I know lots of people, um, almost everyone I know, I'd say probably over 60% are in some way obsessed with, sluts. And, yeah, so there'll be people who just bring women over, or women themselves will just want people to run a train on them and things like that, and they'll be trying to have sex with a new person each night. And then like Elon Musk or Trump, they have like they have like children with like four women. And yeah, so I know people who fucking whatever you can think of, I probably know it. So I've seen probably everything you've heard about in a song before, except for have I seen someone getting shot or been shot? I haven't been shot. No, I haven't seen someone getting shot. I've seen lots of things get shot. I don't think I've seen a person get shot in real life. Oh, it might be the one thing I haven't seen there. Anyways, so I've seen like whatever you can extrapolate from this, but this message here is they insert these shirts in their store and stuff, and then I'm gonna buy it because it's like rock and roll. I'm not gonna buy a flannel shirt because that says like that's like pink. That says the pink girls want a man in flannel because it says I'm a farmhand and I'm cleaning all the dung up and I'm making that money so I can get some pink. So I'm not gonna do that, but I'll buy a rock shirt. I always think like you're gonna attract someone like you if you're someone, like I win awards from the president when I'm a kid and passed up 4 grades, and I always, the people around me is always like, you got to do all that because you'll attract that in your life, and then I never met anyone like that, and I'm wearing like leather jackets when I'm a kid, and like a Shaquille O'Neal jersey or a Slayer shirt, and I never meet a girl who listens to Slayer or uh, listens to rap. So it's like, I don't know how much dressing really matters. I can throw on a suit and pretty much everyone, but especially the wrong people will start talking to me then. It's weird. I can go to a metal concert and I get more attention wearing like a suit in some freaking yellow. Yeah, everyone's dressed in black and I'm wearing like a gold suit and everyone's like, "Oh my god, who's this person?" And it's like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, fucking. Anyway, so what's the message these things send? Right? Obviously, when you put pink on your butt, it's saying I have a product here, and um, like like this is a cat in heat, pretty much. And to me, I don't do that. So I see that as like it's also a message that you're probably not very bright. Um, you're probably pretty low quality, which is weird because the pink stuff is sold to like rich people. But then again, sex makes all the money. So rich people are what obsessed with sex. You can tell by all the music and stuff they release and their efforts to promote that. It's like with the pink thing, they do that with the man spreading because they're trying to talk about penis because they love pink. It don't matter what color the penis is, but as long as they get the word out there, they start directing your attention to talk about it. They get you there and stuff. That's probably a huge reason why they push bodybuilding. To be honest, is because it's bimboism for men, and naked men are on stage. It's pretty much it's Mr. America pageant, right? So I assume that's really why they push it, not because like their people hardly ever get involved in that shit. It's like Joe Rogan's the only person I can think of besides Menser who actually lifted, who looked like, took steroids and shit and got titty implants or whatever implants they get and do that. So it's kind of rare, kind of weird when Joe Rogan ended up doing that because it was just like, like, wow, I haven't seen a person who looked like that do that since Mike Menser. Maybe it's because they know that it's real dangerous and something like that. But they have their women being the largest promoters of plastic surgery. I suppose that's because you really have to do that. Howard Stern doesn't have to look like a bodybuilder to get attention. He just brings on prostitutes, and everyone loves prostitutes. So, uh, and he makes fart jokes, and everyone loves. Oh, he makes poop jokes, fart jokes. Is so 1970, right? You gotta advance it. Like the whole agenda is to slowly creep something in. Like if you come up talking to me for some reason, and I got a shirt that says "We Are Disturbed," like you're gonna read that and you're gonna apply that to every sentence talking to me, and it's just gonna be a waste of my time you coming up to me and talking to me because you're gonna pre-front everything with "We Are Disturbed." Just like if you're wearing pink, I'm gonna pre-front every conversation with you as uh, you are selling your body or giving it away for free, and because it's that's what's literally written on your body and stuff is vagina. Is it the only question is it for sale? Or is it uh, free? Or am I baiting someone just to get money? If you're a little bit smarter, you might you might understand some people are just baiting you with a trap, and then they're after something else. They have their currency, and they're just like a rich person with the suit flashing the money. You ain't necessarily going to get any of that money. But you're gonna worship the motherfucker, aren't you? You ain't getting none of that money, though. I hate to tell you that one. If someone starts giving you money, they're probably buying you off and shit. Fucking, I'd watch out for that one. I definitely do myself. So, anyway, let's skip over how the stuff magically appears at the store and let's go to the purpose of them planting the stuff at the store. Well, we are disturbed from me. We got over the pink thing, right? This is Jeffrey Epstein's brand. Do you really need to say more? Like, this is what they've been doing since they've existed. So whenever the aliens controlling these robots brought the robots to Earth, they've been doing this since, and they can't change. They won't change. Why would they? It's a direction. It's their life. Jeffrey Epstein. That's love. Love is life. Money is life. And being famous in the media is life to them. That's all they really have. Besides an occasional update they stream. You got to realize they got robots on the planet. They already have whatever computers they sold today, and are going to sell in 10, 20 years from now. They had that 6,000 years ago when they brought the androids to Earth. So, all that's a slow release, and they're not inventing anything or discovering anything. They're just slowly milking it the best they can and stuff. Milk it, milk it. They love milking. That's why they talk about their agendas so much with men and stuff, and talk about stupid topics like why don't men smash their legs together when they're sitting down. Maybe they don't actually know because they ain't got anything there. Fucking. But let's not talk about that because that's them. We don't do that shit. Fucking. Anyway, so the Disturbed thing. So when these appear at the store, it's like all the Hollywood top 10 stuff appears at the store. I can only name one Disturbed song, and their drummer makes some unique beats. So I probably have played like 6 or 7 of their songs before, but I can only name one of their songs, and I probably have only had one of their songs in my MP3 for a few months, and considering any other band has been in there forever and shit, like tons of unknown. I have AI music and stuff, but I don't have Disturbed in there. What we can learn from this message is they're trying to. The back of the shirt also has 5 of their religions on it. It has the cross, the Star of David. It's all the same thing. It's all the Bible, and then some other hokey dokey stuff. Pentagram, probably. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it's supposed to be. It's supposed to look like it. It looks like all of them combined, right? So I am Disturbed, and I'm also a religious nutcase. I'm an anti-religious nutcase because being part of a religion that says it's against another religion means you're not part of a religion. Being part of a cult that says it's against another religion and talks about it 24 fucking 7 and does everything they do, that means you're not part of a religion, because that means you are illiterate and you haven't read the definition of a religion or a cult. So, yeah, that's what that means to me. But other people might see that differently. They're like, is it Jesus? Is it Satan? It's just like, what matters is it gets the dialogue out there. Just like the pink, just like man spreading. We're trying to get men who won't let us rape them to let us just suckle just a little bit, and we know that they're stronger than some other people, so they're not going to write brown on their butt. They're not going to buy shirts that say brown. and wear that on their butt, or pink. They could wear pink on their butt, right? It's the same thing. That's why they got pink on their butt, ain't it? So the propaganda is designed. They know what they're doing, even though their propaganda is like everyone's the same. They know what they're doing. They know that's part of like silencing people. That's the Orwellian American and Hebrewism. It's came ever since the Bible. It says kill everyone who mutilates children, and then it says, but it's okay for us to do it because it's for God. You know, kill everyone who touches children, but we must touch and mutilate every child when it's born because it's for invisible characters we're creating and forcing other people to believe in and follow, because we're going to need a scapegoat, which we invented that word in the paragraph after, saying we rape children for God. So it's not rape, it's holy. Um, Literally, and it's weird. It's not just like someone wrote this. Like they be talking to me in the streets, and they'll be telling me, like a crackhead be like, I got the good stuff, and I'd be like, oh yeah, it looks like salt, and they'd be like, well, yeah, I used to sell salt, but these days I don't do that. I wouldn't do that. And it's like, why would you even tell me you used to do it? What's up with that? And then obviously it's salt because I don't know. I don't know why they tell you that shit, right? But they do that shit. Like so many times they've done shit like that. And that's why I was recording the rhinoceros when it was charging, before it was charging me, because I knew where this was going as it escalated, because its patterns and where it was going with its tone and imposition. Not just because this is one of the only things the rhinoceros knows how to do, but because I can translate that to anyone in the street, any stranger I meet. If the tone and the imposition, if they have to be within 6 feet of my body, it means there's a reason they want to be close to me. Things like that. There's all sorts of things, but it's weird. They throw in little words. It's like, why would they explain to you what scapegoating is in a book where they're trying to tell you a goat, an invisible goat no one's ever seen, controls everything, and we just well, he does everything on the planet. He makes us do it, and then but then what we also do is we create a ritual where we specifically choose a goat. Why don't we choose a lion or a mosquito, and then call it scape lioning or scape mosquitoism, right? It's like they don't have the brain activity to sort out, why don't we just make this one simple change in our dialogue and we'll totally fucking run through. It's like the second you see someone wearing pink, that the person who owns that company is trash, right? Because you know what the person who owns that company is up to. Well, this is what, 1996. When did the pink come out? Whenever it first came out, I seen that and I was like, wow, those people aren't just. I already knew they were trash because they're selling basic garbage to at high prices, and it was just like tacky looking stuff. Normal. I can go to the Dollar Tree and get some of the stuff they sell for $1.25. But it doesn't say Abercrombie and Fitch or limited on it. It doesn't say. I didn't sell Victoria's Secrets, but Victoria's Secrets actually is one of the only places that sells high quality females wear, but they're also the pink. So it's like In that case, they also leave it so you don't really have a choice to but to shop with them because they don't have their people haven't created any other corporations selling sexy clothing. Um, and it's like, well, you gotta go there to buy it. You gotta, and you know what I noticed too is like I go in there because they have nice scents and shit. You know, perfumes and body sprays and moisturizing cream and soaps and stuff. And I go in there for that. And I mean, I also like nice quality clothing that looks good, but you know, I'm not buying that for myself. So I go in there for the scents, right? And so I'm associated with that. And it's weird because for a long time, and maybe still, many places don't sell anything that smells good. Like, has anyone ever walked into a store that sells something good and realized, like, why don't, and asked, why doesn't anyone else sell anything good? How come this is the first store in the world to sell something good, right? Um, like groceries, you probably know Kroger's. Well, most Kroger's have good bakeries. It depends on the baker, I guess, or I don't know what it does, but the majority is you know, they're like 70% chance to have a good baked good. And Giant Eagle is like twice as expensive, and they're like 20% chance you find one with a good bakery. They have a special market one that is like fresh market, huge. It's like its own grocery store inside of the store, and that one obviously should be a little bit different. But I know not to go to Giant Eagle for fresh goods because just the whole store doesn't sell it. But why is that when I can go somewhere else and get fresh goods? Why can I go to the Mexican place over here and they're likely to have fresher goods than this most expensive grocery chain on the planet? Why do they purposely do that? And it's probably probably to save money, but every other grocery store except for Alberts and Giant Eagle are owned by Kroger. So there's an answer now for that, but that's a recent acquisition. Kroger Safeway they obtained recently was one of those stores that had a good bakery. They had like the bagels were soft and not hard, and you go into and it was cheaper than it was like half the price or less compared to Giant Eagle. And I go to Giant Eagle, and the bagel would be like hard. So you know, have you ever asked that question when you're in a store? Like, why does this store sell quality stuff and the other store doesn't? No other store sells quality stuff. Sometimes that might be a plan where they're working together. Not too sure, but I know with the Victoria's Secrets, I go in there in the past because no other place sells scents that smell good. It's kind of like they're all working together to like you sell the trash over here and only let us do this. The car companies, think of this. Okay, so you got Lamborghini for like 40 years, right? Why doesn't your car go as fast as a Lamborghini if you just bought it and it's brand new? This is not some new light age tech. It's because Ford owns those companies. It's the same people, and even if they don't, they're working together to inflate market price and keep things separate. If your if your car doesn't go as fast as the Lamborghini did 40 years ago, and that's because you're being scammed by a company who's working with Lamborghini to keep the quality down and the prices up. So, anyways, the messages they send, so they have that going on, but the messages they send, I can tell recently, like my wardrobe is obviously stuff's appearing at the store. The robot alien people are I don't know how it happens. Fake world probably because sometimes it's too fast, right? I'm pretty sure like I don't care if they're robots or aliens. I know they're NPC and shit. Fucking so that's all that matters because stuff appears like fully stocked at the store sometimes when I walk in. So obviously that part's fake, and then obviously it's when stuff magically appears at the store, it's being set the frig up and stuff. Just like when humans magically appear and clones, requests magically appear. That's a dividing line right there. When you see beings who are claiming to be humans magically appear, that tells you everything below that is not what it appears. And that's why when that started happening in 2020, that's why I moved straight to seeing if we can control the weather. And then that's where the phrase everything under the sun comes from, because if you can play with the weather, then you can alter probably everything else here. If the sun's just a bright LED pixel in the sky, then everything else would be just a bright LED pixel. So, anyways, so when this stuff appears, what are they trying to do, right? We got their religious symbols. Have you ever heard of religion before? You might have somewhere, huh? I wonder why that is. That's not part of an agenda, is it? It's just, it's just for good people to hang out. That's all it's for. People who don't know how to not stab you have to go to church or temple or anti-temple or hang out with Einstein so Einstein can teach them what happens when you stab people and why you shouldn't do it, right? That's why it's created, right? Because they have those 10 sentences, the 10 commandments, they say. And they have those, they don't really talk about all 10 of them. They only push like one of them. In fact, they don't ever talk about them. They only say, don't do top pyramid caste work. The fruits of your labor don't matter, which when they talk to me, what they're saying is, don't pay attention to the fact that they won't even hire me at Taco Bell. Don't complain about any of that. And to me, just like, oh, don't worry about that. You can't go anywhere in life because we exist and we're altering the world around you. To me, it's saying, yeah, that's what I hear, because they use it in that manner. They spend like 30 minutes the other day just dancing around that topic to get to it. They're blowing hot air constantly, and then they had two topics: don't insult God and don't do any work. Because he's wasting 30 minutes of my time to impress the stuff tier one is over there sitting puppeteering him to do. And he's in order to make it look legit, like he's a real living being and not Pinocchio, he's doing the human thing. And then plus you have to dance around circles like a salesman, salesman at a store selling the internet. He isn't like, hey, get Comcast internet. It's the best. Come on over here and get it. What he does is he's like, hey, how are you doing? It's a beautiful day, isn't it? Oh, your child looks really bright. I bet you it look really good today. I bet you it's a really intelligent child. Looks like it comes from intelligent parents. Oh my God, you guys look so great and amazing and intelligent. Well, guess what? You have came to the right spot, because I am here to waste your time talking about nonsense. So I can lullaby your mind to sleep because I've got something to sell you here. But wait a minute before we get to that. How are things going in your internet world? Is it working good for you? Why is that? And I'm like, no, I have your internet. It's garbage. I don't want anything to do with it. I've already wasted years of my life talking to you guys. Your whole service is garbage. And I hate your corporation. And they're like, well, we can fix that. Ah, the crackhead salesman in the store looking for his cocaine fix with his commissions. He's ready and willing to do something the lowest tier on the ladder can do, which will overwrite everything their managers and entire corporation couldn't do in a few seconds if I just talk them out for a half hour. Like, that's weird because you can tell that person's never been a salesman before because they're wasting their time. And I can take him for like 30 minutes and then be like, oops, I don't even own internet or a house. I'm not even a living being. I don't even exist. But that's my life being wasted. He's being paid to waste my life. So yeah, there's a message there, and it was a 30-minute message, 30-minute conversation to get a half message out. But when we have something like this, the message is real precise and clear. It says, I am disturbed. So when you sell me this shirt, when you put this in my stuff, that prefaces every conversation you have with me with pink, with I am a slut. Pretty much, right? If a woman wore that I'd kind of think the same thing. I'd be like, oh, it's a slut. Yeah. Well, might have AIDS. The average person, I assume they're like, oh shit, it's a slut. It might have AIDS, but it's a slut. Let's go. Me, I'm a little bit different. As soon as I see that, I'm like, yeah, I remember my mom. We don't like sluts. Fucking. We definitely don't like sluts. Fucking. Shit. So, you get that message, you get that preface, and then they're putting that in the store there for me to get. And I'm advertising their band too. Not only that, but I can tell through the message that the shirt's appearing. This is a pro-war band, right? It's a Israeli supremacist band. That's the only thing I ever hear about them when I click on interview to listen for 15 seconds before I turn it off, because he's always just like, kill the Arabs, white Hebrew supremacy and shit. And then, and then he's like, we're white, we're white Nazis. Yeah, we're Europeans. That's why we're trying to move to the Middle East. And it's like, and so that's where, this whole shirt is a lot of things in one. It's like it's pro total earth enslavement. It's got the religious symbols on the back. I don't know how many we got here. Fucking, it's one of those weird things with a lot on it. I don't want to twist too far. Anyways, it's got a lot on it. So it's like, I'm branded with Jeffrey Epstein's religions now. Like the pink thing, I got Jeffrey Epstein's brother's band, and I got 6 of Jeffrey Epstein's other religions. Like the pink thing says, someone with pink, you'd want to go wash their feet, wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. So Jeffrey Epstein creates a religion for that, and then those two people can meet and meld, right? It's one's the pink person, not very bright person, wearing those words on their parts, unless it is a smart person that's what they do, and they're marketing themselves. I definitely avoid people who can't figure it out, because every conversation in life is going to take you nowhere down an endless black abyss that you're going to spend a lot of time digging yourself out of if you ever escape it. That's like some what color is the sky type stuff. If they say pink, you know, be very careful. You know, text yourself, call yourself, find a way to safely escape the situation because this person is on an animal instinct level, and predatory traits come with the majority of animals in nature, as mosquitoes, tigers, um, gerbils, and you can see gerbils aren't even like predatory. They're just like psychotic rhinoceroses, but they're little tiny, toys. And but that's animal instinct there, isn't it? Just clawing and slashing everything around you without a care in the world, thinking that there's some sort of invisible cotton candy in front of you that you're about to eat. Acid's done fried its brain. It's, look at cats. Cats act like they've been fried by acid sometime. They be doing that thing where they twist their head and they stare at invisible things that don't exist. And then Jeffrey Epstein gets to be like, David Draymond of Disturbed be like, I think he's seeing God. Might be, they just interject at any time. Maybe they're seeing flying reindeer. They interject the word anytime they can in order to promote the agenda anywhere, anytime. Almost anytime you see that, it's either the personality shining through, or if it's a social scale, it's real. It's a promotion. Okay, saving the earth was combined with invading the Middle East when I was 8, and they had kids bring in money in pop cans to recycle to get money to invade the Middle East for David Draymond and Jeffrey Epstein. Literally, Lex Wexner the Pink. That's what he really does. That's just a business for money laundering type shit. Fucking, yeah. And then they control the market there, and this ain't supposed to be about finances, is it? It's a whole different conversation. So, anyways, the message, and then so the other shirt, it also says disturb. What does that one say? That one also has the 3 of their religion symbols. I think it's more like 5 or 6, but there's at least 3 that are visually identifiable. And that one itself, the combination of them is probably one of their like coexist religion, the LSD religion, the religion of taking acid and frying your brain to become enlightened and evolve. Evolve into not getting the message that they're using you as a billboard to display. Yeah, you're going to evolve into that. And then once you fry yourself on the acid, you're going to be too fried to understand that you shouldn't be telling other people that message that LSD is going to set your brain free and shit. Because then you'll be too fried. You'll be like, what's an L? LSD? What's L? Huh? Oh, pink. Shorts that say pink on him. I like pink. It's one of those words. Yeah, it's a word. I like words. Anyway, so free your brain, like they say, right? So free your brain by buying shit like that. It's like it kind of live where I live, and that's and I've lived here a large portion of my life, so I don't expect to be able to find much more, but I used to have to spend a lot of time looking for like a nice suit or, I still didn't find in the city. Actually, the nice suits, first nice suits I found since 96 were from Jeffrey Epstein. Again, there's only one person. I go somewhere and pay $3,000 and not get fine quality garment. And it's the best thing they got at Men's Suit Warehouse, or which is like, I guess, the best fucking suit store in the world because it's the only suit store, right? There's no competition and shit. So it took me 30 years to find a good suit. I mean, I'm sure Jeffrey Epstein's brother owns Men's Suit Warehouse. How much you guys want to bet? What color are they going to look like? Are they going to be gray skin, dark hair, dark eyes? Who owns Men's Suit Warehouse? Am I psychic? How do I know this? Oh. Tailored brand, Joss A. Bank. Wow, once you're Jews, Jos. See what I'm saying? They're either like really sure of themselves that they can tell you they're about to rape you, and then they can do it because they own the government, and they can call their legal system the judicial system because they know they've enslaved you and they can do it, or something that has designed them to point out everything they're up to. And it makes no sense. I mean, that's really arrogant, but they do have robots. So you tell me when you're going to start fighting the Terminator War and how to do it. And you let me, seriously, this is something we can discuss. All these people forcing their way into my life. Uh, you should talk about something useful instead of promoting ideas for Jews, a bank Moors. I mean, the whole word, the whole name there is like it's created it to be like a laughing stock. Jews. Who knows what A means, but it means something. I bet the rest of it does. Bank, banker, Moors. More. And they say they're the Moors who've they say they're everyone on the planet, and they're the Moors, and they've enslaved everyone, and they've traveled and spread the good word about the banks and being disturbed, and and pink, the Moors, the most educated people. They traveled with their religions to tell the world that they're going to kill them all, and to have their preteen daughters wear clothing that says pink on it, or just the dumbest people in the world. You know what? I think it's great, to be honest, because some of this stuff, if I see a woman wearing that shit, if she's not like a 11 out of 10, I'm definitely not going to want to talk to her because it's like, well, oh my God, that thing's probably used up, huh? That thing's probably spent all its time laying on its back instead of doing something useful in its life. And we'll be talking. That's like having sex with a child to me. Like if you're in a relationship with someone who is a child mentally, like that's the. I mean, they look weird. Children look weird. They look like like puppies, and they look like fetuses. They still have a fetus look to them. That weird slop, AI slop, washed out look, kind of. But one of the big things there it is like a fetus mentally. So that's not very cool to me and shit to do that. Um, a lot of times, you get like a puppy's cute because it sits there and it's like stares at you like ha, and it's all jumping around and excited. If it is, I've only met one human partner who's jumping around and has any sort of energy. That's another topic. Wow, only one person I can remember. Um, And anyway, so but the puppy dog, like it's like and it's just sitting there staring at you and fucking drooling on itself all day, and it's cute and all that, but it's like, can you like stop staring at me? It's making me feel really uncomfortable to like just feel the Superman laser eyes burn through me. Puppy, can you stop? You know, stop jumping around and just to irritate people. And like I said, when it comes to that, I've never seen that, especially in an unwanted form, because that came in the form of the first person who brought one thing, and I was like, wow. I guess that makes it two things they brought, right? I never knew you had to ask for something like that, but the puppy just staring. If the puppy stares and doesn't do anything, it makes me nervous. I guess if the puppy's not jumping around, it makes me nervous. If it's just staring and shit. So anyway, so back to this name. So the whole name seems set up here. JOS. Make what you can from that. Just take the word JO. What does that spell? It's Joe, Jew, A, bank, bang, more. Not only more, okay, and then look at it this way: they call themselves the Moors. They're like, they got these other people convinced that they're doing something, but they're all they're trying to convince us all that we're them, and they're running off and hiding behind that. Everyone's busy thinking that they're something they aren't, and sometimes there is some logic to that, but you gotta be careful because almost everything they say is designed so you end up talking with someone else. Just like this person was talking to me, the tier 2 puppet, while the tier 1 puppet was sitting there staring at the wall and stuff. Like no one was in the shell. He wasn't doing any work anymore unless he was, inside his android, like, controlling that other human like a joystick and shit. Fucking, I don't know how that process works, but it's easy to see it's happening and shit. Fucking. Um. Anyway, so yeah, like he has the other person doing his work for him, so he doesn't have to do anything, and his fingerprints are not on anything the other person does. Like when they send someone to assault you, and they're just controlling them with the robot with their little controller, then they're like, it wasn't me, it was someone else. You can't do anything about it. I own not only this government, but every government in the world. And the police wear all the symbols on the back of your shirt, dude. You're the one explaining to me what's going on. You think you're going to do anything about that? So maybe the police would see this shirt and they'd be like, oh, he's a policeman. Mm-hmm. Because it's got, pentagrams and Star Davids on it. So that's what they wear and have on their cars. It's the judicial system. So, it's just them. Just them. Anyway, so the Moors, we're getting sidetracked because what does that mean? Well, it means two things, right? So we gotta talk about that. And just one name. I predicted who it will be. Well, look, that's very obvious. That's very hard, right? Looks like who does that look like exactly? Um, Joe Rogan, something like that, right? That was really hard to predict. Oh, look, he's got like curly hair, like he's got a perm and stuff. Uh, wonder what his size. His nose is huge, but most old people's noses are huge. It's supposed that's what they say. They say your nose and your feet grow as you age, and I do notice that. I don't think my nose is growing, but maybe that's Pinocchio shit. Maybe that actually happens, but I notice my feet grow. Um, wearing, or maybe I was just wearing small shoes in the past, and I should have been wearing bigger shoes. You know, that's why I started wearing bigger shoes because I was cramping my feet. But I think because the disfigurement in my bones, always been wearing too small. So I can't say for sure. I can say it doesn't look like my nose is growing as far as I know. So um, that might. I mean, it's science. It's a religion. Like, do we just agree with 7,000 religions on the planet? First of all, didn't God say that only one religion is true? So how are we going to believe in all the others if only one is true, right? So we should rule out all 999 other religions and just go with one if if there's any truth in them, because they're all claiming they're the only one, and the other ones are all false, and you'll die or whatever if you don't worship the right one. Like science says you can't believe in God, magic type shit, and you'll die if you rely upon it. And so even that has it. The other ones are very apparent. They're always telling us Arabs will kill you if you don't worship Allah, and then um, obviously the Arabs right now are probably telling people, well, they're killing us because we don't worship Jesus. So that's the way. Kaiser kills you if you don't worship Caesar. That's the way religion works. You get killed if you don't worship. So, anyways, the more is wait, I could look A's liable to mean what Abraham. Anyways, um, George Zimmerman would have been the previous owner. So, who was that? I forget. Oh yeah, George. That was the previous owner, and the new guy still. The picture it's shown there. He still has grayish skin. He has more pinkish skin and dark hair and dark eyes. Wow. All it's hard to guess. I guess they're really smart people or something else, right? Steve Austin asked Paul Heyman, what's up with that? And he said, well, we're the smart people. And it's like, it didn't look like he actually thought that. It looked like he was just saying that because he was scared. It was Steve Austin asking him. Nah, he looked pretty scared of being asked that for some reason. And it's like, oh, I question the people thing too. So when people say that, I kind of throw it out with the bathwater, because you're not even differentiating between what's on this planet. You're excluding invisible goats, right? Yeah, there's invisible goats on this. There really is invisible goats on this planet. So what's up with that? Um, you know, invisible goats who have flesh and are very visible, but definitely something happened there. Anyway, so that right there, I had to go get my suits. That took a minute, right? But I had to go get my suits from there. It was the first time I found good suits, and was from that company. I didn't even know they sold them. I found them at a fashion warehouse, and yeah. So I'd spent like 30 years looking for a good suit to replace one that disappeared when I was 15, and I could never find it again because it's all like a Ford scam industry. They got, Ford owns Lamborghini. I think that's what I read recently. But even if they didn't, they're obviously been working together, because they're selling nothing like a Lamborghini. Even the Mustang isn't that great, and then all that stuff below that, it doesn't compare to even the halfway best cars from 40 years ago, but it's definitely not the best. The technology hasn't changed at all in 40 years. And so if it hasn't changed, why have the prices gone up? Most of it is just selling new junk because they're the bankers like Jose Bank more, and they need more like Jose Bank more because they're the Moors, right? So they shit. Where are the robots coming from? You telling me they got robots and they gotta slowly roll out a Ford Festiva and a Pinto and a Cadillac and uh, freaking Motorola smartphone that can barely do anything. You gotta spend 30 minutes booting up a Motorola smartphone, 30 seconds. And then the other one I got, you can't even do anything with it. Literally can't even update it because there's not enough space on the hard drive for the update on the device for the update. So, because all the software to make it run takes up all the space on it. But they got some sort of robots and stuff that they look like humans probably for centuries. But they gotta slowly roll out the garbage over and over and over and over and over, and because they need more because apparently they're robots enslaving living and harvesting their energy and souls. They don't have souls, so what's up with them needing souls? You can tell that sometimes they're very empty people, and then they do the robot shit, and it's like, oh, well, that explains how they can be so disgusting. Because I don't think living beings are really interested in eating feces and doing this whole scam rollout. And like, what do they even need money for? They're just harvesting money and burning it. They own everything, and like I said, the person I know, his excuse for why he didn't do work was because he outsourced his government engineering job to China, so he didn't have to do the work. And it just made me realize eventually, like, oh, all that stuff's being already built or being auto generated. You're not even outsourcing it to China, are you? That's just that's just something made up. But it's like, why do they run the government and need everyone to work for them and stuff, right? Why do they have these AI generated movies in Hollywood convincing people that it costs billions of dollars to make, and you gotta go to work all day long so your family can see it. You gotta go to work all week long so your family can see it. Especially if you want a $20 tub of popcorn, you gotta. It's like building pyramids. There's no point to it. It's just unless it's got to do with the wireless transmission and the AI at the top of their pyramid that's controlling these terror puppets, then it's totally useless garbage, and would have been a waste of time to build. But just like a lot of this stuff we're going to throw away is a waste of space, is a waste of stuff to buy, because some of they're just selling garbage and stuff that's broken, and then there's no rule to protect you. They say there is because they've got the judicial system to protect them, so they can organize protection for tier 1. They remain in control. Cleopatra has her soldiers to protect Cleopatra, so Cleopatra can continue being carried through the desert on her golden throne and fanned by a slave, or else she'll have the soldiers kill him. But Cleopatra's soldiers ain't there to protect slaves building pyramids. They're there to put whips to their back if they don't build pyramids. So, story as old as time, isn't it? Building useless stuff. It's almost like the entire Earth's history starts with people being forced to do useless things just so someone who looks like Elon Musk or Donald Trump's peoples or Jose Bang Jose Bankmores can feel special about themselves. So yeah, so you kind of get forced to go into some of those places because that's happening and shit where their people are purposely selling junk and only, they own everything, and then they have their one company make the Lamborghini, and then the other company makes really expensive junk. Just not as expensive as as the thing that's slightly faster that they've had the technology to build for freaking, what is it, 50 years or 6,000 years? So there's obviously something going there, right? And so we got the messages, right? I'm disturbed. So everything I say means it's if you're a living being, or if you're a robot, right, and you're trying to figure something out. If I start a sentence with "I'm disturbed," I'm gonna portray that. Just like if I write "pink" on my tits or my butt, that's going to make people think that I want to have sex with them and I'm a free piece of meat. Because literally, yeah, that's why you would do it. But this is a band, right? But the average person, I've never met people who know what metal is. So rarely, a few times. But I don't know if the average person knows. I don't know how popular that band is. It's one of those Hollywood things. And then so they had a bunch of that stuff. I ended up with more Wu-Tang stuff than anything, and I don't really listen to them. I know one of their songs slightly, and I listen to like all the solo efforts. I listen to all the solo stuff, but whatever. And so obviously there's a message, and then in the I have a hoodie over here that's like a black metal hoodie that they had someone pick up and hold, so I would see it across the store, or I wouldn't ever think it was there. And so I went over there, and then I looked up the hoodie, and the hoodie's very similar to the pink thing. It's kind of sexy clothing, but it comes, just like this. It comes with religious symbols on it and stuff, and an agenda. Disturbed. It seems to be every time I hear an interview with them, it's about invading the Middle East, and it's like, you're a metal band. What's up with that? Like, I thought, yeah, the metal's trying to convince you that they're like against stuff like that, and then Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch would be the two bands who have pro-war propaganda, pro-government. And most people would be like, that's not even metal to be pro-government. And it's like, yeah, well, you would think, but it's not very satanic to worship Santa Claus, is it? It's not very atheist to believe in flying invisible reindeer. It's not very scientific to mutilate children for God and rape children for God, but see, it doesn't matter which corner of the pen you go hang out in. What matters is that you're in the pen and you're pinned down. So most of the stuff I got seems to have something like I just bought some stuff online that it was the same as other stuff. It was a black metal writing, but instead black metal is usually like kind of satanic. But and then again the thorn writing, thistle writing is usually like some sort of deathcore. These days, anyways, especially in America, that's still kind of similar sometimes, especially the ones I'm thinking of. Like Obituary might have been the first one I remember with thistle writing, but they don't talk about too much. Just kind of like traditional death metal. Then again, some of that stuff is kind of like hateful shit. Like the pink thing, where they make girls put pink on their butt. Corn had songs, where you're going around and saying, I'm listening to my music, and I'm like, no, daddy, don't fuck me. Don't fuck me, daddy. That's literally what Corn was having people say. And now what is Corn doing? Corn is talking about them religious symbols, isn't he? So he goes from having people chant, no, daddy, don't fuck me. No, which is like pretty much that sounds like a girl like begging for it, right? And the thing is to put that idea out there to get those words in people's mouths so it's normalized, like putting pink on your butt or your crotch. Um, and then he moves on to telling people to let him wash their feet. No, daddy, don't fuck me when he's little is what he's thinking. And then when he gets older, he's like, oh, I'm Jesus. Let me wash your feet. Oh, oh. And it's like the same sexual sick perversions. And they're using it to promote the idea that anyone should be doing, they just putting the word out there. Once you put the word pink on your vagina, people know that you're a slut. So that's that. And once I go around the gym and I'm singing, no, daddy, don't fuck me. Not again, daddy. Ah, ah, ah. Once all the 13, 14-year-old kids were singing that in the 90s, then what happened? Well, then they all went out here and started installing rainbow lights all around the city, and some of them were trying to get me to have sex with them and shit. So, yeah, that's they're promoting that and they're putting this out here and to spread the message, to get words out there. Generally, you wouldn't talk about people having sex with children, but they've normalized it for like 6 years now. They've been normalizing, but the Bible is what legalized it 6,000 years ago. So what's even wrong about it? The Bible says it's okay as long as you do it for God. So what's wrong? How do we know Jeffrey Epstein wasn't doing it for God? We never got his message. He got to run away to his mansion and go hide in Israel or wherever, whatever pleasure island really is. So that's the message. That's the point of most of their messages out there. It's very simple. They really do seem like robots, but then again, there's not much to the goal of getting to the normalization of sex with toddlers and sex with dogs. Is sex with everything that moves. The bigger problem seems to be here is some of these, have you seen who owns this thing? You've seen Jeffrey Epstein. I always tell you that's a bad one. But this is Wexner, right? So does that look like your standard Chippendales model who's over here doing nude dancing for women? Does Howard Stern look like he's the next Chippendale dancer? Does Joe Rogan? Do any of these people who talk about that stuff look like that? No, because if they look like that, they wouldn't have to talk about it. They'd probably be busy doing what I do and being like, "Can you stop talking about it? Like that's enough. That's enough talking." It's enough staring at my ass. I'm not going to put pink on my ass. I'm tired of you staring at it already. It's making me feel uncomfortable. It's weird how there's some sexy girls out there wearing the pink shit, and you would think someone would get tired of all the extra attention, but some people thrive on attention. It's like their only goal in life, and they'll go really fucking far. They'll they might stab someone just to get attention from celebrity stalkers. You think I'm making up shit? How many times have a celebrity died because of a fan they wouldn't pay attention to? Obviously, it goes that far, but apparently some people are more either designed or directed to uh, beg for attention as a life thing. And these people have a lot to gain by convincing certain people that they must beg for attention. You know? Kind of like corn. They know that. No, daddy, don't rape me. They're begging for attention. It's like, my daddy raped me. Let's talk about it. Oh, yeah, how big was it? I mean, this is obviously, how can you say that's not what's going on? This is all unfolding, and the Epsteins are doing what they've been doing. I mean, right away when you see that the very first time it comes out that there's a predator who owns this company, and he's trying to convince girls to put the word pink on their uh, genitals or other sexual parts. So it just, but it's like the same thing over and over, going everywhere and shit. Fucking, I sometimes put up with some of that music, but I was noticing like some of it's like pretty shitty, because like Corin's got a good drum beat, and then he's like, "Oh no, Daddy, don't rape me," and it's like, man, can you please shut up? But then you realize later in life that's like part of an agenda. It's weird because the person who introduced me to Corin was the only person I knew when I was that age. They were in the streets like beating people up over those agendas, but he didn't know what he was doing. So of course he's not like saying like, hey, this band's really good, but look out for it, fucking. And then again, it makes me wonder if that's the only person in my life who's not on board. Then he might have been on board. Plus, he did one of those things where he drops information, and that information drop was like really weird. It's like, that's one of those things I'm like forced to remember, but it fits into the puzzle, and it's like, yeah, there's a chance there. And also, it's a matter of who are the Nazis now. It's like them. It's like their controlled opposition. It's like, why do I have a cross and a pentagram and a Star of David and the symbol on my back? Because it's all the same thing to them. It's not coexisting. It's called enslavement. It's called we own everything, and you're gonna like it or fucking lump it, or we're gonna lump you upside the fucking head. And so, yeah, this whole message thing, the messenger, they got a lot of shit like that too, because it's all the same words being spewed over and over. So of course other people are talking about messages, because there's not much else being talked about other than a few things here. And the messenger here, the one I was just thinking of, it was like the spooky D, spooky do type shit, fucking, which is what they do, you have to give them your soul, which I'm not sure if they actually think that as robots that they're going to become real living boys and no longer be a Pinocchio. But at face value, it's just like saying worship me or die, right? You are my slave. Yes, I'm your daddy and I'm going to rape you. That's That's the reverse. That person puts out music like that, and it's not him saying, "Oh, I was raped by my daddy." You're the one saying it. You're the one dancing and getting all excited while you're saying, "No, daddy, please don't rape me." He's the one who's needing to be a famous star so he can have sex with everyone on the planet, and then switching over to a religion of washing people's feet, and legalizing child rape. So, and then promoting the delusions and mind control that says, no, you're wrong, don't question me, or someone I just made up will torture you. Yeah. You guys starting to see the links here between what this character class talents and abilities are. So it's something I get to experience a lot in my life. I'm not sure if I don't have a choice because they're like targeting all the living people and separating us from everyone else, or if I've been inserted to monitor them purposely, kind of like a prison warden type shit. Fucking. But I can tell you it's one of the two. Sometimes things are something and they're designed because the design is something else, but the design is the design, and then what the design creates and appears as is what the creation was designed to work as, and interact with as, and appear as. You gotta work with it. Like, why is the ground there? If the ground's really not there, why is it there? Well, we're working with the ground, right? We're working with the ground. So if space ain't really there, like, why does it appear like it's there? Shit like that. We're working with it. We can probably create it if it's not real. That's all I know about that topic, is if it's not real, we can create it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure just why. There's other problems to worry about. Obviously like this, but they've been using the Epstein thing for like 6 years, and it's more like a slowly steeping frogs in the pot. Because they're not even talking about the other stuff. The hospital in this nation and in certain other nations still perform child mutilation rituals. So that's legal. They're not even, they're like, well, where does it begin? It's like, well, it doesn't begin with a man hiding away in a secret laboratory somewhere, pulling the strings of a rich businessman with a helicopter on an island. Like that was that, and was born 40 years ago. I don't think that's when it all began, unless he just invented pedophilia and made up all these other fake stories to make them appear like they came before him. So yeah, the messages, amazing messages. It's like I'm branded now. It's like I'm like, oh, daddy, please don't fuck me. Oh my god, daddy. Oh, it hurts, daddy. Don't do it again, daddy. Oh, let me wash your feet, daddy. Literally, what comes from this band is they need people to go invade nations for them. And so, replace someone. If you can get someone to wash your feet, that's almost as sick as you can get. There's only, eating feces and a couple other things are probably a little bit higher up on that list, but not much. I'd say washing people's feet, um, needing to talk about it all the time is a real sign of a person who's just fallen off the edge, and they've been having sex with animals, children. I mean, children ain't nothing once you have sex with animals and are washing people's feet and stuff. As far as sickness goes, that's kind of like standard, and like I've always heard about. And then I come from a nation where they mutilate and rape boys, every boy at birth. Like, not everyone has sex with a dog. Not not 50% of the population has sex with a dog. Not 50% of the population wants to play with your feet. Um, so it's a different thing, Not I don't know how many people want beat. I've definitely met people who want that, and then there's that 50 Shades of Grey thing. Um, and then there's the act of sex itself. It looks kind of brutal. So that's weird in itself. I mean, look at animals in the sexual world. Like that's pretty much like rape and stuff. But that's how they have babies, because they don't live long enough to have formulated thoughts and shit. So it doesn't get programmed in them to, you know, choose a proper partner type stuff. Like if they didn't, just like if you didn't write in the Bible for certain people, like these people, like if John Davis didn't find the Bible, he probably wouldn't be having sex with women. So the Bible has to remind certain people to find a woman and reproduce, because there will be no more boys to have sex with. And Daddy, you can't rape boys if there are no boys. That is clearly interlinked there, and would be the biggest reason you have to tell some of these people not to do those things, because supposedly the human race would dry up if they didn't reproduce. So it's the most logical thing I can think of. Besides, like, obviously, there's Nazis out there who, like, Hitler's like, oh yeah, have a bunch of kids and shit, fucking, for the war, and Kaiser is like, have a bunch of kids so we can go build some aqueducts, and then Cleopatra's like, have a bunch of kids so we can hit them with whips and laugh at them while they build sand piles. So, there's different reasons for that, but one good reason is when a group legalizes and promotes and discusses a lot of man on man stuff, is because if we do that, if they do that, I'm not going to have that problem. If they do that, then there will be no more soldiers. There will be no more people to build sand castles for us. For them. There will be no more them. There will be no more men to have sex with. That's really the bottom line. I don't have to dance circles, but you get so used to it because we're drained. We're forced to this category where I have to turn a 10-second message into like an hour, 2 hour long documentary, because someone only has 10 seconds to their life, and you can sum up them and their actions in those 10 seconds. And one of those seconds is understanding that they aren't very intricate and they ain't got much going on, and they can be easily identified. So this is really the biggest tool they have. You can see the poisoning me and trying to kill me and drug me my whole life seems to have failed. So the trying to get, no daddy don't rape me, to become part of them when their people come to try to get me to have sex with them. Those things have failed when they've sent useless sluts into my life to try to tie me down and all that shit with them. That's failed. So, if you have someone who's not like that loser Caesar who sells out his nation for some pussy, some exotic pussy, which was probably his people anyways. They had already just invaded there, right? So, yeah. And then the nation can't collapse. Kind of like, looking a lot like a Donald Trump, isn't it? But they're involved in that, you know what I'm saying? If Caesar and Cleopatra were already related, what were they doing? Well, what they effectively did was erase the idea that there was this terrorist group called Italians and who were Nazis, who were, I hate that word, right? They're terrorists. They're always trying to change it to something that sounds cute because they're trying to change it to something that sounds cute, so it becomes cute. That's why we change raping children to circumcision, because it sounds cute. And who's it for? It's for God. It's not for you. You're being selfish. You got to do it for God. It's just like, it's pink. Women love the color pink. It's cute. It's not because a person like Jeffrey Epstein owns the company. It's cute. Oh, it's corn. Oh, it's a boy expressing his feelings. Oh, and he's so hurt. He's so hurt because his dad had sex with him. Oh, so he's gotta talk about it all the time, and it's gotta be played and all the time and pumped through people's ears all the time. Just like the Epstein thing now was being played the same way. It's just, okay, 6 years of one person, nothing happening. Oh no, they're going to come after 5 more people? Oh wow. And in the time I made this video, the hospitals across the world have already raped and mutilated 7,000 girls and boys just in the time I made this video, probably. Yeah, it's somewhere. It's definitely not 0. It's definitely not 1. It's definitely not 2. It's definitely not 5. It's definitely not 20. This is a bit higher than that. Just in the time I made this video. But in the time they've been talking about Epstein, how many boys and girls have they raped and mutilated in rituals? Jeffrey Epstein at Lex Wexner's hospital, literally named after him. One of them over here is, at least. It's, they have, probably, I'd say, 1 billion maybe? 1 billion maybe in the past, ever since they started talking about Jeffrey Epstein. So he's a good scapegoat. He's an invisible goat no one can prove exists, and he's the source of all evil in the world. And while Satan is running free, causing 0 problems, the people telling us invisible goats are the source of all problems have raped and mutilated 1 billion infants, newborns, just in legal official capacity. Just in legal official capacity. And I'm not sure the level, but that's, when it's legal and official, it's like going to the store and buying gas. Like, what if gas was sold by drug dealers in the corners, or you had to hide? Jeffrey Epstein had to hide. He went and purchased gas at the Lolita Express gas station. There might be a little bit less than that. It might be, $500 million that they've used their services to take in. But then again, we're talking about newborns versus people up to the age of 18 across the globe. So I'd say there's a good chance of billions, right? But we're still on this one invisible person. looks like a goat. Can't prove he even exists. But I just talking about him all the time, all the time, all the time. That's all they do is talk, 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 talk. Talk, 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 talk. I know these people, all they've done their entire existence is talk, and they've almost never said anything of useless. I remember once they were like, brush your teeth. And these days, wash yourself. And these days I feel like, oh, you just need a slave. Like, now that it's time to die, so I can erase my memories of you, my brain of the memories of you, now it's going to be harder for me to die. Now that I'm dying because you're trying to kill me, um, actually, on top of I need to erase the memories of you trying to kill me, um, now I can. So I don't even know if that's a positive thing because it doesn't sound like it. Jeffrey Epstein locks you in a city and wow, wow, and then teaches you, beats you until you learn to wash yourself and brush your teeth, and that's all you know. Let's call him Bill Nye instead of Jeffrey Epstein. And that's all you know is Bill Nye's a really good person because he taught you to wash yourself and brush your teeth. That's the good shit. And Bill Nye took you to school to learn to save the earth and donate to Bill Nye invading the Middle East to kill people and steal land on some land that they killed people to steal to teach you that. And it might have killed your actual family 100 years ago in order to build that school there. Wow. Might have enslaved you. I hear the Irish were slaves too, and that's how they got here. And maybe that's why my family owns a farm, is because they married the master eventually or something. I never got down to how they got the farm, but they lost the farm. I know that much. So they weren't smart enough to retain the farm. So there's probability that they got the farm by marrying the master. And then the master might have been a female. The master who inherited it might have been a female, and then the man couldn't work out how to run and maintain a business. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it's kind of weird. I get involved in all this stuff, and there would be absolutely no, like, that side of the family was so, they didn't tell me anything when I began to ask questions, so I never asked anything again. Fucking, they were the smart ones, though. They were the ones I would have trusted if they would have said something, but oh, there must have been something they were hiding because they acted guilty when I started asking them where I come from. They worked with Epstein. That's the side who worked with Epstein. Obviously, the ones who like own farms and businesses are the ones that would get hired by rich people to work for them. So yeah, the message, man, this is a crazy message. So how, like, there's always, how are they populating the store with their trash, and how does that stuff magically appear? And then the robots, how do the robots magically appear to accost me to bring me the message? Yeah. And the message of I gotta worship God, but I've also gotta do nothing. And then why God has to use two different tiers of robots, why God operates through tier one robot to puppeteer a local tier two robot 6 feet away to come talk to me. And then why God also creates people to talk over me and never answer any questions, even though in school I would be the teacher and they would be the students who would have to listen. It's always, but see, I'm not supposed to be a teacher because I'm not supposed to do good works. I'm just supposed to, wash feet, I guess. I'm supposed to beg daddy no please in a real kinky way while wearing shorts that say pink on them. It's a confusing message from people who appear to be robots. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, robots who are trying to convince me they're living beings, and clearly I don't think some of them are. Robots who want to gain my soul. Weird shit. Maybe the messages are all pointing at the one simple, obvious thing that makes sense, that they all have a probability of pointing at. And there's no doubt that it could be pointing at that in every case. That I was born knowing. Pretty much as a toddler, when I was prompted to interrogate and investigate the people around me for what they were saying, and to make sure that the reason they were saying that stuff was exactly what it seemed to be, rather than just moving forward without any evidence that this is a mistake or something. Anyways, great messages. Awesome messages here. It's a, Lord Kaiser, he invades the fucking planet and creates a bunch of religions and enslave everyone and forces them to have sex with them and wash his feet. And there's this point in the story where Lord Kaiser is going to lose everything because, for whatever reason, the world caught on. He didn't have enough soldiers. You see, his men were having sex with men and not having children, and then they were having sex with all the people they invaded. And so the children were sometimes like, wait a minute, this person killed my parents, My mom killed my grandpa, Like, when I think about that type of shit, I think about how realistic that is. That, I was told some people killed my grandparents on at least one side. Another side didn't say anything, but some of those people are here because they're slaves, because they were brought over as slaves. And they're definitely really hard workers, like someone trained them to work really hard and more harder than other people. So, anyways, yeah, they're like putting this shit in the store. It's like, I really don't listen to it, and I don't support promoting Hollywood. I don't support supporting Hollywood. And like the agenda there, so it's a Disturbed shirt. It says I'm disturbed, but if you know what it means, it says I support invading other nations. And then if you know what the symbols on the back means, it says I'm the member of several different cults. And if you know what the symbols means, it's I'm the member of several different cults who are the same cult, trying to act like different cults. So there's just on this one shirt, there's all these messages, but they put that out there to put that thing in there. Like every time you wear anyone who buys a Disturbed shirt is disturbed because you're listening to Hollywood music. That's the first clue you're disturbed. But I think what it appears they're doing with the music here is what John Davis does. They're taking the good music and then they're putting words in the music that's trash, like "You're my slave," "I'm gonna let me rape you when you're a kid" type stuff. And then you go around chanting that, and then just like John Davis, when you sing his early stuff, you're going to be raping. People are going to be raping you because you're telling them to, and then you're promoting that even if they don't. You're promoting, you're running around and people are hearing you sing like how you're like this sexy little cushy child. Ooh, daddy, 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 don't. Bop, bop. And then when he gets older, if you sing those lyrics, you'll be like, yeah, please, please let me wash your feet. Wash the feet. Please let me wash your feet like God does. Gotta be like God and let me wash your feet. Don't wash your own feet. Let me do it for you. Oh, touching people's feet isn't a filthy, disgusting, pedophile, child rapist, man on man activity that you do in between eating the dog feces at lunch. No, it's not. It's so great. It's so good. It's wholesome. God said so. God said to wash and touch your feet. And if you don't listen to God, well, someone's gonna torture your ass. For sure. Gonna torture you. Gonna torture you forever and ever. And it's gonna be some real bad torture. Real bad. It's gonna be real bad. So listen to God when God speaks through me. And God says, let me touch your feet. Touching the feet. Or else you're gonna be tortured forever.